Recently, many of you have read in the newspapers or saw on the Sean Hannity show that Jeff Rovin, so-called fixer for the Clintons, has been working for them for 25 to 26 years and making sure that a lot of their miscreant behavior or their past indiscretions were covered up. In particular, Jeff came out 2 days ago on the Sean Hannity show. He'd been working on behalf of the National Enquirer as a reporter, but at the same time as a fixer for Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton to make sure that anything that was negative with respect to publicity was totally eliminated. Now, that's a job that's been done by many people in many administrations. There's nothing new about it. But what is new is the fact, and the fact that Hillary and Bill Clinton have been so much involved in so many chicaneries and illicit affairs that one would think they literally walked on water and they had no bad habits whatsoever. And as we know, Hillary is a compulsive liar, a fornicator, a woman of ill repute in many ways, as Bill Clinton was a pathetic president and individual. We know much about Bill Clinton, but we know a little bit less about Hillary. It was Jeff Rovin who exposed the fact that Hillary had numerous affairs with young women and senior officials of the Hollywood community, women who wanted to have a lesbian affair with Hillary. Hillary, by nature, is far more lesbian than she is bisexual. Although the one incident in which she did have an affair and it became kind of notorious was the one with her partner in the law firm, Vince Foster, who a decade or so more was found dead in Washington, D.C., and the Clintons claimed that it was a suicide. It was up to Jeff Rovin to create the appearance that the murder of Vince Foster, by whomever the Clintons ordered, appeared as if it was a suicide. So Jeff came out on behalf of the National Enquirer and his colleagues in the National Enquirer to defend them, to say basically that he'd been hired by the Clintons to be their fixer for well over 25 years. Now, I've known Jeff for about that period of time. He started writing with me and for me on the Op Center series. He's a highly gifted writer, a very serious man of quite a strong integrity. And when I asked him why did he come out now, he basically admitted to me that the National Enquirer was being attacked by the Clintons as a reputable newspaper. And in fact, one of the things that Jeff has always informed me about is that the National Enquirer has never been sued effectively. In other words, if they expose something about you or your background, it's pretty accurate. And if you want to take them to court, you never really win. Well, in this case, the Clintons went after the National Enquirer, although they had hired Jeff Rovin and others from the National Enquirer to squash anything that might have been negative about them. So in effect, the Clintons went after their own self-destruction. And that's something that I want to talk about right now. There is within Hillary and also within Bill this compulsive need to continuously create irregular habits, unfortunate incidences, and literally transgress the role as if they were looking to be punished and as if they were wanting to be caught in some illicit activity. It's not just once. It wasn't just Bill being paid off by the Chinese in Arkansas or Taiwan, or Sam Walton, the former captain of intelligence, who helped them out and had funneled in Chinese money and had helped the CIA to bring in drugs into Myrna, Arkansas. And it wasn't the fact that Bill Clinton also affiliated with the CIA, it's that he had to go out of his way to besmirch his own reputation, the reputation of his wife, the reputation of the CIA, the reputation of his roommate at Oxford, Strobe Talbot, who was the editor-in-chief of Time magazine. And at the same time, Hillary Clinton also went out of her way, independent of Bill, to besmirch her credentials and reputation by creating illicit affairs with young women, older women, and sometimes men that were facilitated by Jeff Rovin and others in the National Enquirer. Now, when you analyze this type of behavior, what you see is an incredibly self-destructive streak within each of them, which has been cultivated year in and year out by the fact that they've never had to be accountable for the consequences of their behavior. What concerns me most is if that Hillary Clinton comes back into the White House as the President of the United States, she will in fact displace and project all that self-destructive behavior onto our country and go into other wars that were not necessary. In the same way that she went into Libya unnecessarily in order to, quote, take out Gaddafi, when in fact Gaddafi, there was no need to take out Gaddafi. He was our ally, we funded him, and she went out of her way to create a false narrative that he'd been killing his people, that there was an uprising, when in fact there was none of that available. So what I'm saying, Mr. and Mrs. America, is that from time to time I will break into your living room or your computer and describe some of the things that concern me and should concern you. And in this case, I want to commend Jeff Rovin for having come out, gone on the record, went to Fox News and the Sean Hannity report and exposed the Clintons for what they were: liars, corrupt, cheaters, miscreant, homosexual, bisexual, lesbian, so on and so forth. So it's up to you, Mr. and Mrs. America, to decide what you want to do with that information and how you may want to treat your future President of the United States. Until the next time, I bid you farewell and thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.